Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Mr. Heeb, and today we're going to talk about what happens when somebody wants you to create a password with certain requirements, and they need to check to make sure your password hits those requirements. So first off, what we're going to do is we're just going to have the same beginning, but instead of our password not having anything in, we're going to start with just some password in there. We're going to change it so you can put in a password later, but for right now, while we're testing it, I just want a password in there that we can use to make sure it's working. All right, so if we ran it, it just says our password up there. So now what we want to do is we want to count how many letters, how many digits, how many uppercase, and how many characters are in it. So to do that, we need a variable that I'm just going to call num letters. That's the number of letters, and it's going to start at 0. Num digits. It's going to start at 0. Same with uppercase. And finally, characters. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to go through this password, and we're going to look at each letter. To look at each letter in a password, or I'm going to say for I in password. And just so you understand what's happening, I'm going to print I. What it does is it goes through each letter and evaluates it. So it went through and it printed H, the first letter. Then it evaluated this next @ symbol, and so on all the way down. So what we can do is we can do something to each value. So for each I in there, so the first I is going to be H. Well, we want to check to see if it is in letter, digits, uppercase, or characters. Now, I'd say if I is in letters. Now, it would make sense to do that, but strings don't have that, can't do that, but a list can. So I could say if I is in the list of letter, I'm going to increase the number of letters by 1. Now, there's two ways to do this. We can, it's supposed to be num letters. We could say number of letters equals number of letters plus 1. This is what I usually do, but there is a shortcut that I should probably teach you. That if you just say plus equals 1, it means the same thing, and it's a little bit shorter to write. So it just means that the number of letters goes up by 1. So we are going to do that same thing a few times. But instead of the number of letters, it's going to be number of digits. So the number of, so if it's in the list of digits, num digits goes up by 1. If it's in the list uppercase, num uppercase goes up by 1. And then what was my last one? Characters. And so my num characters goes up by 1. Perfect. So this is just keeping track of how many of each thing I have. So let's just print these out to see what they look like. All right, let's run it. All right, 7221. And we can look back at our password and see if those are accurate numbers. I think they are.